who isn't as smart as people think. Any television doctor, but a special shout out to Dr. Oz who peddles homeopathic bullshit weight loss medicine that is legit dangerous for people. Dr. Phil, too. I hate crack psychologists. I remember he had a particularly messed up guest. She was introducing herself and her whole litany of challenges at the end. She meekly said, "I might be the hardest client you've had," with a nervous chuckle. She was clearly trying to lighten the mood. Dr. Phil proceeded to duck and lay into her, yelled at her like, "I am an experienced psychologist, I've dealt with worse than you. Get the duck off your ducking high horse." And then he just ducking, lays into each of her problems with zero empathy, like Freud on steroids. I'm like, my guy, enough. If this isn't evidence you're a quack, I don't know what is. I'm pretty messed up myself at times due to childhood abuse, and when I saw a new therapist, I kind of said the same thing. It's just a nervous response to being put open on the table like that. Dr. Phil is his asshole. The neighbor's child, my mother keeps comparing me to David, Allison's son. Oh, he is a darling boy. You know he's captain of the football team and tutors blind children for college credit, right? Always helps his mom with groceries. You know you are just as smart as him. If you applied yourself and stopped playing those Halo of Duty games, you could do that. You think as smart. You should hear about my friend Sang-woo. Graduated top of his class from SNU Business School. Oh wow. This Sang-woo guy sounds like he must be pretty financially stable. A birthday card I found for my dad said something like, "I remember when I was 15 and I couldn't believe how little my dad knew. Now I'm 25 and I can't believe all he's learned in these years. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much the old man had learned in 7 years." Mark Twain. It's attributed to Twain, but it's not in any of his writings. Don't trust random quotes on the internet. Abraham Lincoln. People who upload small video fragments of themselves on YouTube with a extremely simple message a la "you need to be wearing pants to a job interview" with heroic movie music in the background, all under the title "life changing. Get the job of your dreams. Pants." Got it? Any other tips? The pants thing was really eye-opening. Shoes too. Went barefoot once, and they remarked on it in a negative way. Dr. Mehmet Ounsi is just a quack. He's an incredibly talented surgeon. I'm pretty sure he perfected a technique. He's also a terrible person. Behind the Bastards has a two-parter on him and Dr. Phil. Oh, I know he is a horrible person. My friend is related to him through marriage and I hear some stories. The whole family is quacky because his wife comes from serious wealth on her mom's side and they are of the Swedenborgian religion and do some crazy ass shit. He only does what he does to have something to do and has gone completely narcissist, whereas once he actually was a doctor associated at Columbia Memorial if I recall. Daphne is a nut job too. Supermoms on Facebook. Dr. Phil. My parents think he's a genius and that the people on the show are a true reflection of society. That the people on the show are a true reflection of society. Yes, including Phil's behavior, and not in a good way. He's gonna send you to the raunch for saying that about him. Stock traders or other investors. Everyone is genius when market is bullish. Or its sister phrase, never confuse brains with a bull market. This guy Steve that lives down the block. Duck Steve and the horse he rode in on. I did. The horse was better. Redditors. Listen here you little shit. Mom. Son. Are your arms broken? Here we go again. Literally everybody is stupid in some way. Because we can't simultaneously be generalists and experts. We can either divide our time equally into all life's various subjects and be a generalist. Or we can focus a lot of our time on a small amount of things and become experts. The generalists will never quite be as good as the specialists when it comes to their specialty, while the specialist is often below average in all of the areas they ignored in order to develop their specialty in the first place. Which explains why my doctor sister couldn't figure out how to pump gas. My emergency room nurse mom didn't know how to work Microsoft Word and my double masters holding dad doesn't know how to love me. That took a turn. programmers. I'm a programmer and I spent 10 hours on a misspelled word. I saw other programmers spending a long time fixing a misspelled word too. I really hope that typo was intentional. Don't you know the famous first program everyone writes? Hello Word. Parents, you grow up thinking they have it all figured out and know everything. Then you become one, and you realize that it's all a facade you put on for your kids, so they feel safe and secure. And there is something wholesome about that. As a kid I thought my parents were the wisest people ever. As a teenager I became a dick and undermined them at every turn. When I got a bit older I realized they have a lot of life experience and wisdom and I'm glad they are still around. Yes, exactly. Once I became a parent I then started wondering if they were flying by the seat of their pants as much as I feel I'm sometimes. Me. I can't believe the schools, career positions, and opportunities I've gotten just because I'm very confident, well spoken, and can crush an interview. Just because I have a large vocabulary and use big words. People constantly will I overestimate my actual intelligence. I could be the literal poster child for fake it today I learned yeah make it. Yay. The confident use of multisyllabic words is often enough to convince people I'm super smart. What's kind of frustrating is that I don't really actively choose the big words. They're just the ones that come to mind. And people often assume I'm trying to show off. I also feel compelled to use catchy phrases I hear, and they get stuck in my head until I do regardless of context. It's convenient for memorizing songs and the like, but annoying when I'm trying to be productive. Kanye West is neither as smart or as dumb as people think. Gifted or smart kids, I used to be one of these, and as things get more challenging, there's just more pressure from peers and parents. I had an absolutely brilliant roommate in college, who was there on a full scholarship and always aced his classes. However, he was a complete ditz when it came to real life. You'd walk out and find a half-made sandwich with all the condiment containers and lunch meat packages around it. The kid was just long gone because something popped into his mind and he completely forgot about his lunch, or something similar. Brilliant. But ditzy. I had an ex who went to MIT. Super smart. Still forgot when Christmas, his birthday, or Independence Day were for non-US Redditors. That last one is especially impressive, since its other name is the 4th of July. Engineers. I'm one. I work with a lot of them. Most are some of the most inept humans I've ever had the misfortune to know. They are not qualified to do or think about anything other than the very specific thing they are trained to do, and yet they all think they are qualified to do any job. Themselves. People always overestimate their own intelligence and it's annoying. Neil deGrasse Tyson. While he's an expert in his field, he has a tendency to overextend himself and comment on areas in which he is not an expert. Over a decade ago, I saw him speak at my college, and I was stunned at how many things he said that were factually inaccurate. Being an astrophysicist does not make you an expert in, say, biology. And he said several things that were wrong or misinformed, and he said them with total confidence. I don't remember the specifics, but I went there as a young biology major, and I remember the next day in my embryology class, everyone was like, hey, why did Neil deGrasse Tyson say a bunch of blatantly wrong stuff about biology and evolution? Did we misinterpret it somehow, or did he just seem to not know what the heck he was talking about? In years since, he said things on Twitter that were later disproven and he never seems to have the humility to say, that's outside my field of expertise, and I can't comment on it. Let me refer to another expert. Part of being smart is knowing that you don't know everything. And I find Neil deGrasse Tyson to be insufferably arrogant. I myself don't know enough about practical effects or robotics to know to what extent the BB-8 thing was technically wrong, so for all of you folks who are insisting this wasn't a great example, here's a short little list of things he's been wrong about, and you can easily Google more. Me. Everyone thinks I'm smart, but I'm actually ducking stupid. My middle school teachers. I grew to find them on social media sharing fake news, conspiracy theories, and religious and political memes laced with typos. It was a rude awakening. Criminal masterminds are not as smart as many people think. Majority of the hardcore criminals did one stupid thing that got them caught. Timothy McVeigh drove without a license plate after the Oklahoma City bombing and admitted that he had a loaded gun and was arrested for that. And that's how Timothy McVeigh was caught. One of the 1993 WTC attackers, Mohammed Salameh, rented a truck using his own name and tried to get a $400 deposit back after claiming that his truck was stolen, being too much of a cheapskate lol. But the FBI had found the axle of the truck after the bombing, and it was registered in Mohammed's name. When Mohammed went to the Ryder store to get the deposit, they denied him, and he was arrested on the spot. Shoe bomber Richard Reed failed to ignite his shoe because of perspiration and sweat from wearing it for so long. Times Square bomber Faisal Shahzad incorrectly wired the bomb. So instead of exploding, it didn't explode, but instead smoke came out of it. He almost got away, but the FBI found his getaway car with a loaded weapon in it, and the car registered to him, and the flight had to taxi back to the gate, and he was arrested. Albert Bailey called a bank ahead of time to demand $100K, was arrested the next day. Ted Bundy was pulled over for erratic driving, and police found out that the car was stolen and was arrested, and then they found out that he was the one killing women. One man tried to carjack someone but couldn't drive stick shift. Criminals are some of the dumbest people alive. Mayim Bialik. She loves to flaunt she's a neuroscientist but hasn't done any research in years, and she's out there hawking a useless supplement called Provagen that's literal garbage. Joe Rogan. A lot of Ivy League alumni. Ben Shapiro, Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, Plankton, Mr. Krabs. Steve Jobs. He didn't really do much besides just tell smart people to bring his ideas to fruition. I can't remember which comedian does a bit on it, but it's spot on. He also never showered and died prematurely because he thought fruit could cure cancer. Dude was an ass. It's Bill Burr. I'll place my bet on Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk. Edit guys, I just happened to be the first person to reply to this post with the first name that came into my head. Please stop sending abuse. I stopped reading them. He tweeted about COVID back when it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve and basically said with current trends it'll be over by the end of April or something like that. He also decided to weigh in on treatment and baselessly criticized patients receiving high flow oxygen and was saying they should get low flow with legitimately no evidence at all. Don't forget when he proposed building a submarine to rescue the kids stuck in the Thai cave and then called the rescue diver who saved them a pedo because the diver pointed out the submarine wouldn't have worked even if it could have been built in time. Politicians. All of them. The thing about politicians is that there's a lot of them and they're not all the same. I heard a former congressman say in an interview once that about 1-3 are honest, 1-3 are corrupt, and 1-3 are morons. He was talking specifically about Republicans at the time, but I suspect it's a pretty good generalization for politicians in general. In light of recent events, Aaron Rodgers. Newt Gingrich is a dumb person's idea of a smart person. Andrew Sullivan.